Hi everyone, welcome back for another week of Camp Challenge. We're on week 5, and for math today we're still planning our summer break, and today we're going to make bar graphs. Today we're going fishing. So you and your new friends from the bonfire went fishing. Here is the data on the number of fish you all caught together. Use the data to help you make a bar graph. Before I show you the data, I'm going to show you a video on how you can use bar graphs.
A bar graph is a way to organize and show data. You can write the categories on the bottom. The 3 dinosaurs are the categories. Then you can write the numbers on the side. The numbers in our bar graph show how many people voted for each dinosaur. Let's see. One student liked the Stegosaurus the best, so I fill in 1 square. 6 people voted for the Triceratops, so I color in 6 squares. 7 people said the T-Rex was their favorite dinosaur. You can also put the categories on the left and the numbers on the bottom. You can display the same information in a different way so you can understand it better. How can you use bar graphs to understand information? Bar graphs help you answer questions. Which dinosaur did people in our class like the best? Right, the T-Rex is the most popular. Which dinosaur did people like the least? The Stegosaurus got 5 fewer votes than the Triceratops. You can even use the bar graph to figure out the total number of students who voted. Just add the votes from each category. 14 kids voted in all. I'm almost done with this survey.
Okay, so we're going to use that information that we just learned from that video, and I'll show you the data, and then we'll make our bar graph. Okay, so this is the fish data. So we have our type of fish and the number we caught. So let's just go through the list, and then we'll make the bar graph. So first up we have bass, and we caught 90 bass. That's a lot of bass in one day. We have bluegill, we caught 45. There's carp, we caught 50. Catfish, we caught 85. That's almost as much as the bass. There's pike, there's 60 of those. Salmon, 15. Trout, 75. And walleye, 40. So we'll use this information on this chart to create our bar graph. So first we need to think of a title for it. So you can think of a title on your own. I'm probably going to name mine Fish We Caught with Friends. So your title should always be relevant to what your data is about. So you don't want to name it dinosaurs whenever we're talking about the number of fish we caught today. Next, I'm going to do the numbers on this side. So I'm probably going to count by tens. Sometimes, depending on your data, the numbers that you have, you might count by ones or fives, but today I'm going to do tens because I think that's a good number. So there's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom and we have to type in the type of fish. So I'm going to start out with our first type of fish, which was bass. So our first box will be bass. Next, we have bluegill, carp, catfish, pike, salmon, trout, and last we have walleye. Okay, so we're going to start with bass, and to create our bar graph, we have to look at the number of bass that we had. So we caught 90 of them. So I'm going to do this. And I'm going to start down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go all the way up until I reach 90. I don't want to go past it because we only caught 90. And then I'll fill this in with a color. Let's do blue for bass. So there's all the way up to 90. The next fish we'll look at is bluegill. So that's our type of fish, and we caught 45 of those. So I'll create a rectangle, and it'll go right in between the 40 and 50 because we haven't reached 50 yet, but we're more than 40. So halfway between would be 45. It looks about halfway to me. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll pick a different color. I'm going to do a darker blue for bluegill. I'm going to stretch this out just a tiny bit to fill in the box. I can go back and do the same thing for the bass. Okay, so far we have 90 bass and 45 bluegill. Looking pretty good. The next type of fish is carp, and we caught 50 of those. So this time I'll go all the way up to the 50 line, not past it. Start down here at the bottom, and I'm at the 50. I'll pick a different color. Let's do green. Move it over. And I'm at the 50. So we had 50 carp. Okay, our next type of fish is catfish. We caught 85 of those. So I'm going to count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I don't want to go all the way to 90 like we did for the bass. So I'm going to go right in between 80 and 90. Looks like we're halfway in between, maybe a little bit. That looks pretty good to me. I'll fill that with yellow or catfish. We're up there at 85. And now we have pike. So we caught 60 pike. I'm going to go to the 60. Starting from the bottom, because whenever you're at the bottom, you're at 0. So that bottom line is 0. So if we caught 0 pike, I wouldn't have any box here. I'll do red for pike. Next we have salmon, and we only caught 15 of those, so I don't need to go too far up. My first line right here is the 10. My next one is a 20, so I have to go right in between those two. Starting at the bottom again from 0. And that looks like it's halfway in between. I'm going to fill that with a pinkish color because salmon are kind of pink. Okay, so there's my 15 salmon. We have trout next. We caught 75 of those. I'll go up to 70 and then I'll go halfway in between 70 and 80. We have 75 trout. I'll do dark green. And last we have our walleye, and we caught 40 of those. We'll start at the bottom and go up to 40. And I'll use gray. Okay, so now we have our bar graph of the fish that we caught. We have our types of fish on the bottom and our number of fish on the side. So now we're going to use this information to answer a few questions. So if you need to go back and look, you can always pause the video and rewind and then go back to where we were, okay? So the park ranger has some questions for you. They have been studying the different types of fish that are in the park. He's wondering if you can help. Use your bar graph to help you answer the questions. This data will help him make decisions about the park. So he wants to know, what fish did you catch the most of? What fish did you catch the second most of? And what were the 2 fish you caught the fewest of? So go ahead and think for a few minutes. Remember, you can rewind if you need to. And then we'll answer the questions all together. Okay, right now let's double check and make sure that we told him all the right information. Don't want to tell him false information, then he wouldn't be able to help make decisions about the park. So for A, what fish did you catch the most of? What did we say? How many fish did we catch the most of? I say that we caught the most bass. Remember our bass, we caught 90 of those, and it was our tallest bar on our bar graph. So that means that there were the most. B, what fish did you catch the second most of? So what was our second tallest bar on our bar graph? I hope you said catfish because we had 85 catfish, making it the second most number of fish. And then C, what were the two fish that you caught the fewest of? So what two bars on the graph were the lowest? One of those, our lowest one, was the salmon. We only caught 15 of those. And our second fewest was walleye. There were only 40 walleye caught. So salmon and walleye were the fewest. It seems you didn't catch many salmon. We only caught 15. I wonder why this is. Do you think our lakes and rivers are running low on salmon? What do you think we should do about that? So I just want you to think about that question. Maybe talk to someone at home about it. Right, if you need more time to think about that question, you can always pause the video and then press play whenever you're ready to again. You can also feel free, if you want to, you can comment in the comments of this video the answer to this question so I can see what your thoughts are. But we're going to move on to the next question. Can you tell me 3 other things you learned from looking at this data? So just like the last question, you can take your time. If you want to, you can comment it in the video. You don't have to though. Take as much time as you need. Pause the video if you want to. All right, if you still need more time, you can pause the video and then press play whenever you're ready. I'm going to move on to the last question. And this is something that you need to answer in the comments of the video so we know that you're participating. How can you use bar graphs? So how do bar graphs help you understand information? So make sure you comment the answer to that in the comments of the video. And I will see you again next week for our last math lesson for camp this summer. And we'll be continuing our summer planning, so it should be lots of fun.